instructions say to like stir it enough to where there's like no swirls in there or anything, and when it's completely clear. Oh, I guess I see what they're talking about. It said it can take up to 5 minutes though, so I don't know how long it's actually going to take.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the top.
Alright, so the resin process is finished. I went ahead and brushed a light coat on every single piece, and then the next step is sanding all of it. Actually, no, the next step is putting the filler primer on and then sanding it all down. So I used the Rust-Oleum filler primer and then did a couple coats of that just to make sure I filled in a lot of those 3D printer gaps. Alright baby, it's sanding time. I highly recommend that you wear an apron or something to cover your clothes because you will get dust everywhere. One thing that I learned while doing this was don't use sandpaper. If you have access to a mechanical sander, go ahead and use it, because I tried to like cut it up a little bit and make a smaller piece so it'd be more manageable, but a mechanical sander just makes it a million times easier. And some of the white spots that you're going to be seeing on the helmet, don't worry about it. I was just sanding a little bit further down because I kind of caked that resin on a little bit too much, and it was creating too many lumps under the helmet. Don't get me wrong, I wanted some, but not that many. And then go ahead and wipe that down good with an old rag or a towel just to get all that extra dust off. And here I'm just repeating that same process just to make sure I got those 3D printer lines filled in all nice. The next step is the Bondo. That's going to do a lot, and I mean a lot, to fill in those 3D printer lines that still are seeping through after using the filler primer and the resin. It's going to help a lot, just building up layer after layer. And like I said, you're going to want to put this on every spot that you can see a 3D printer layer line. Just throw it on. I mean, it's really easy to sand off, but it'll get trapped under that spray paint and just make it look much smoother all around. Next, I'll be using the truck bed coating to add that lumpiness that is under Boba Fett's armor. You can kind of see it as I pan closer here. Just kind of adds that texture that I wanted. And now we're on to the fun parts. We're getting the colors going. I went with like a kind of army green, just to kind of, bring it on. It was a little bit too bright. I ended up doing a wash on all the colors at the end of this video, but I think it was a good base color. When it comes to adding the other parts and colors of the helmet, you're going to want to go ahead and tape off all the sections that are required to be that color. So for the red, I taped off the cheeks and the dome part and went ahead and spray painted a dark, kind of rich red. I did the same thing for the cheeks of the helmet, just with a darker green, and like I said, had to darken it with a wash later on. For the lines on the helmet, it was a little bit tricky. I had to tape off 18 individual lines and then cover the last one up because 17 of them are orange, and then the very last one is black, of course. As the lines were drying, I went ahead and added all the little details to the earpieces, nothing that difficult, and then went ahead and added the white highlights of where I wanted to put all my scratches, so that when I did my black wash, I could see everything clearly. And here's the helmet with the silver highlights added to the scratches, the black wash when I darkened all the colors. Later on, I ended up doing it just a little bit more, and I also added some brown, which you'll see at the end of the video, that just kind of helped make the helmet look a little bit more rusty and dirty. You're then going to want to hit this bad boy with some clear coat primer to just keep all that stuff safe, make sure it doesn't scratch off or anything, and then throw in that visor by using some sticky putty or some glue. And the final bit is adding on those earpieces, gluing them suckers on. So I'm not going to cover in this video at least how I did the foam inside. For me, I really just fit it to how my head is. My head's kind of skinny and narrow, and so I just made it to where it fit a little bit more on the sides, kind of stopped the helmet from wobbling around on my head and stuff like that. So to each their own with this process. But to kind of show you what mine looks like, it's got padding along the edges around the face, and then on each ear to just kind of help it from, you know, bouncing all over. So to kind of show you guys what the helmet looks like, here it is. You know, you can kind of get a better feel for it. You know, here's the inside, but here's the meat. You know, all the way around. I love how shiny the visor is, especially compared to my Hasbro Black Series one. It's a big difference. And then I think my favorite part is the scratches right there on the eye. And I love the lines on this side. I think that just turned out really great. You know, not to pat myself on the back, but I am definitely patting myself on the back. And yeah, I really do love the way this turned out. I'm really proud of myself. And here's what it looks like on my head. So, you know, it fits really great. The foam, you know, is an absolute necessary thing unless you have just like a boulder for a head, which wouldn't surprise me. I know some people. Yeah, the armor, the rest of the armor just shipped out, like the chest piece and the jetpack and all that stuff. It just shipped out, so I should be getting that by the end of this week or, you know, beginning of next week. I'll go ahead and post it on my TikTok, but what's even crazier is at the time of publishing this video, I will have already seen the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett. So, future me, let me know how it is, you know what I'm saying? But guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. Thank you for following along in this process. It's been a couple weeks of hard work and, you know, dedication put into this, but I think it turned out great and I couldn't be more excited. So, I want to thank you for your support, and if you want to show a little bit more, you can follow me on Patreon. Link in the description. Guys, thanks so much for watching. May the force be with you always.